Welcome back to the Ball Does Lie podcast, your one-stop shop for NBA content. My name is Amir with my co-host Brendan. We took a long break, just like the NBA has taken a long break. It feels like Brendan. We're
Yeah, had to
finally
take an all-star break ourselves, man.
we did take one. It felt like, it's longer than the actual All Star break, but we're finally out of the All Star break, and I want to talk about the Houston Rockets for today's episode. They were one of the best stories in the West early on, and they're still obviously a good story. They're fourth in the West, but lately, before the break, things started to feel different. So, what's up with the Rockets? Is it just a slump? And before we talk about the team's play, how do you feel about the KD burner files as well? Because some of those tweets were freaking hilarious. And how true do you think this story really is?
Yeah, we'll start with the KD files, I guess, because it's a little lighter. Maybe not if you're on the Rockets roster, but it's totally in line with Kevin Durant's personality. We've seen him tweet very similar type of sentiments on his actual official account. Um, but some of the stuff out of the leaked DMs and some of the proposed burners are pretty crazy. Like I don't know what the conversations are like right now inside the Rockets locker room. Can't imagine it's super comfortable right now. And this seems to be just a theme with Kevin Durant since he's left the Warriors. At every stop, there's chemistry problems. And I don't know if that's all on Kevin Durant. I don't know if he's just been a victim of situations that haven't worked for him, but it doesn't seem like his vibes seem to lift up teams. We saw last year in Phoenix. I don't think I've seen worse chemistry out of a trio of players, maybe ever. And then his stops in Brooklyn, him, Harden, and Kyrie. Now there are a lot of different reasons why that didn't work, but either way, crash and burn didn't work at all. Now we had one kind of half year in Houston. Things looked great. Steven Adams goes out. Things start to kind of look a little unsecure, and now here we are. Things are falling apart, and then during All-Star weekend, these stories drop with KD calling Jabari Smith the R word. You
Was that
got
leaked or was that a DM that was leaked or on a burner? I didn't see the
that
full
was that
story.
was a leaked DM,
Oh,
from
so
my
even worse.
understanding.
No, there's no
Even
hiding
worse.
behind a burner.
No, and then no, but it was through a burner account. It was in a DM through one of his burners that was leaked. So it
Oh, I
wasn't like the
see.
KD Trey 5 account was out there saying that. And again,
Got it. That's
KD,
what I wanted to differentiate. Yeah.
yeah. KD's kind of denied, but not officially denied the stories and the accusations. But again, with his history on this, similar to the NBA coming down on someone like Draymond Green for past behavior, this is similar with KD's behavior on Twitter. The guy loves to be in the mix with all the trolls, and um, I just can't imagine what that locker room was like right now. And I just wish I could be a fly on the wall with that first meeting back from All Star break. But what's your take on the KD files? I mean, anything surprise you about him? Honestly, I wasn't too surprised when I saw the news. It was
No,
maybe shocking, but not surprising.
no, he talked about Sengun also, like talking about the franchise star is someone who sucks at defense and can't shoot. So that was kind of funny that he's already talking shit on his team. This team that he thinks is a championship contender team with him on it, like that had good chemistry and obviously started off really well. They're fine right now. They're fourth. They what have won 6 out of their last 10, so not horrible. But they don't look like that elite team in the West anymore, like as a top
No,
two team. And I'm not surprised. I'm just a little surprised at like how much shit he was talking about his former teammates and like how deliberate it was. Like even talking about how James Harden is kind of crazy, but he misses him in whatever he said. Um, I'm just a little more shocked at like how much of it is talking smack outwardly because it seems like a lot of his direct interactions with fans from his real account is him defending himself and being sensitive. People calling him out,
yeah,
him talking crap on people, basically saying like you're just a fat loser. Who are you? What do you even like? What do you even know? Like I'm still a top 5 scorer all time. Like one X amount of titles, one X amount of scoring titles. Like he usually defends himself from his actual account. So I'm used to seeing him being kind of insecure in that sense, but it doesn't fully shock me that this is how this dude operates, right? Like behind the scenes, like this
yeah.
guy just likes drama, it seems like, and likes to talk shit and to argue, and that's evident with all the burners he's had. But going back to the team, so
Yeah.
what are the biggest issues? Like defense was kind of like their calling card. Like they had size. They've lost Steven Adams to your point, which is a huge loss. They lost Fred VanVleet before the season started. So is it the injuries? Like, is it the offense or is it the defense? Like, I know the offense has stagnated a little bit as well. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, their offense was so unique compared to modern NBA offenses. A lot of that was centered around their ability to just grab offensive rebounds, and of course, Steven Adams was the centerpiece around all of it. You know, when you're basically rebounding half of your misses, your offense is just going to look a little bit better and be propped up by that statistic. And obviously led the league in offensive reboundings up to this point, even with the extended absence of Steven Adams. But, you know, just within their last 10, they've dropped from, you know, the best rebounding rate team in the league to now they've fallen 2 spots just to third. So I do think weirdly, even though they're just dropping from 1 to 3, that might not seem like a big deal, but the rate itself was a pretty significant dip because they were leading everybody by a pretty wide margin on the boards. And now that part of their offense is gone. And the offense itself is just a bit clunky. Not a ton of spacing on the court. And a lot of these possessions are either left up to KD to save them or left to just getting a bad shot without the right guy getting the type of look that they're looking to get. So I think their rebounding has been the major kind of variable right now and why they've slipped. And I don't know if it gets better for them for this season. And I kind of think they need that legitimate point guard now. This is where they're really missing Fred VanVleet. And Reed Shepard's been incredible. I think he's been as good as you could have hoped. But they're missing a legitimate point guard that can actually put guys in the right spot and kind of direct an offense, because things look pretty disorganized on the offensive end. And I think that's really the area that they just have to improve in. It's just getting some more looks, and not rely so much on rebounding your misses now that their main piece to that equation is going to be out here for likely the remainder of the year.
Yep, for sure. It's always been an issue once Fred VanVleet got injured, because they try to put Reed Shepard in there, and he's young, hasn't had a lot of usage or experience, and wasn't really in the rotation much the last year or so previously to this year. And he was getting hunted defensively. We saw that early on. His defense has improved, I think, a little bit, or they're hiding him a little bit better because they have a very good defensive unit. So that's always a bit of glaring issue. I don't like, maybe they're going to be a buyout candidate, perhaps. Maybe there's someone they can get off the street. Maybe Spencer Dinwiddie, maybe. I don't know. That's just one guy that I think of that I could think of. Dennis Smith Jr. Those are like always the guys that are always like Mark Fultz. I'm just thinking without even looking. Like, these are the guys that are on the streets actually. Like that's not even, those aren't even buyout candidates. Those are just straight up free agents, right? So maybe they can add someone like that. But another issue too is their road record. Like, I'm looking it up. They're 15-13 away, 18-7 at home. The other top teams ahead of them have better away records. Obviously, the Thunder have a way better record in general, but they're 20-7 away. Spurs are 18-10. Nuggets are 20-9. So those teams are all, except for the Spurs, which are 8 games above 500. They're all 3 teams ahead of them are 8 to 15 games above 500. On the road, they're only 2 games above 500. So they need to figure out how to win some more road games as well. And that's going to be more important come playoff time, is being able to win in a hostile environment, like at Denver, which is a tough place to play, obviously, like OKC. So that's another issue as well. But any closing thoughts before we hop off? What's your prediction? Will they turn it around? Like,
I think they've kind of fallen out of a legitimate contender spot in the West. I think we were pretty high on the Rockets, honestly, maybe even considering them to be a top 3 seed in the West. But I think the way things are trending, I think your 2 juggernauts are going to be still OKC, Denver, with San Antonio right behind them. And then, from basically 4 down to 6, you'll see that kind of mid-tier of Lakers, Timberwolves, Rockets. They'll all kind of be vying for position between that 4 to 6 category. And I don't consider any one of those 3 teams there to be a legitimate contender. I don't think any of those teams are beating the Nuggets or the Thunder or even really the Spurs in a 7-game series. If we assume everyone's going to be healthy, but we've been wrong before. We could be wrong again. And Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant. He can still carry a ton of the offensive burden. And that's the area I think the Rockets need help in the most. So we'll see if they could lock in down the stretch here, but I don't see them contending in the West anymore to finish out the season.
Yeah, that 4 to 6 range seems like they'll be stuck in that 4 to 6 range. I mean, don't get me wrong; they're only a game behind the Denver Nuggets. That they are dealing with injuries though, big time, right? Like Joker was out for a while, then Aaron Gordon's going to be out for a while, and then Christian Brown's hurt, and then Peyton Watson was up and coming and dominating while Joker was out, and now he's hurt, right, with a hamstring, I believe. So I think that's probably the reason why it's as close to, as it is. But Lakers, they're going to compete obviously with Luka and Anthony Edwards. With the T Wolves are going to come for them, so I think they're probably going to be stuck in that mix. Who did the T Wolves add before we sign off? Didn't they just trade for someone?
Was a huge ad for the T Wolves.
I love that.
So
I love that as well.
I think
So
that could vault them
too.
over the Rockets too. I mean, that's a perfect fit for the T Wolves, and we know how Ant gets when spring and summer rolls around. He kind of turns into a different player. So it'll be exciting to see how this all kind of shakes out. But again, I think the top two are just so good in the West with the Nuggets and the Thunder. So we'll see if anybody else can really challenge them.
Yeah, I think I agree. I just think they're not going to be a contender, but anything can happen. I'm not saying they're not close. It's a war of attrition when it comes to the playoffs. It's also lucky who's healthy, who's lucky with matchups, who gets hot in the right time, so there's a bunch of variables. So it's not to say they can't do that, but
yeah,
I agree with you. But anyway, thanks for hopping on. Appreciate the time. And if you guys do enjoy the content, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.